Welcome to the Let's K12 Better podcast. This podcast is a project between Mama Ball Capes and her kids.
Hi!
In our podcast, we will cover a variety of subjects involving K-12 education and family life.
We will talk about the ways that parents, kids, and educators can improve K-12 education and family life. We encourage you to join our conversation on social media using the hashtag Let's K12 Better.
Let's jump into episode 14 of the Let's K12 Better podcast. Right now, families across the country are inundated with information about COVID-19 and back to school. Some of it good and some of it misleading. It's hard to keep up with the decisions being made by each state and every school district in response to the recommendations from health officials. The reality is that school, although not a child care facility, provides parents the ability to work as schools promise a structured and safe environment for kids. As we hear about the demands to jumpstart the economy and the real need for families to earn income, we can't help but wonder if there isn't a better, more imaginative way that we aren't pursuing. This episode is part of a back-to-school series focused on a variety of topics designed to peek behind the curtain or even blur the lines a bit between the parent-teacher realm. We hope that you gain insight into the human stories behind the hysteria, the confusion, and even the sterile numbers and factoids we hear in the media. So, what do the kids think? This week, we sat down as a family to have a candid discussion about COVID-19 and its impact on the back-to-school experience. We are excited to note that we asked friends in the state of New York some similar questions to see what they had to say. We hope these conversations inspire you to keep having your own discussions with your own kids. Started, we gonna get this party started. We gonna get this party.
Started.
Wow. All right, so let's jump in here. What concerns you about starting school and COVID-19?
I think what concerns me the most is that probably we're not going back to school for a while, but if we were, we'd probably have to we'd all have to get vaccinated or something because there's a lot of people at our school, so maybe we're gonna have each person think individually.
What's thinked?
I mean,
Tested?
Tested for it. So then at the school, not at the school, maybe at the school, so they know. So maybe that kid won't go to school. Also, if one person has it, it can, and the second wave is probably there's probably gonna be a second wave, and if it comes, then it's probably gonna come to the school, and it's.
Why would it come to the school?
Because there are a lot of kids there, and kids are the most people who are probably gonna get it.
Okay.
And
Do you mean carriers?
yes.
You mean carriers?
And
What makes you think that kids would be carriers?
because
They're disgusting. Speaking of
because a lot of kids go around doing stuff more than adults do, because adults are more careful, because kids are just not dumb, but they don't have a lot of experiences, because they're kids and they haven't lived that long.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I wanted to add on to that.
Nice and loud, please.
It's not just kids are carriers. Kids also I think it's more lower grade elementary schoolers, because they're really little. They don't really know a lot, so they'll be going around rolling in the mud. They'll just be hanging out, having fun. But from third grade on, you're more cautious because you probably know what's gonna happen if you get sick, or what happens if you bring the sickness to someone else.
So younger kids, there's a chance that they're not going to be as cognizant or aware or careful because they're just being their carefree self.
Yeah, and then also
can I? So like as I said, like if the second wave mixes with coronavirus, maybe it's going to be something new or the same thing.
So you think that the virus could potentially mutate?
Yeah, it's going to probably be more powerful and more effective on adults and kids.
Okay, that's a great point.
I want to say that before I was scared because I thought it was going to be public school. I was like, how is every child going to go? Because at my school, there's a lot of kids, so they would either all have to wear masks, and there's not going to be enough teachers to enforce that everyone has to wear a mask at all times. And if they were to do something like there's social distancing in classrooms, it wouldn't work out because there's not enough classrooms. But now I'm not scared because we're mostly at home now. So
okay. What are some back to school traditions that you'll miss this year? Like things that we do all the time.
Well, every year I have a personal tradition. Our parents take us to shoe stores, and I buy red Vans every year, red and black Vans. And also we go like every time we're at the mall. It's more of a just a normal tradition, like not just back to school, but we always end up getting like cinnamon sugar pretzels.
That's cool.
I think a tradition we do is that we might not get to do this year is we usually just like get a bunch of school supplies and new clothes and shoes. Like she said, we get a bunch of new stuff. So unless like the other person passes on some old clothes that they had that school year. So
everybody gets to look fresh on the first day, huh?
Oh, yeah.
What about you? Do you have anything? Okay.
Sophie already said it, so.
Okay, all right, cool. Okay, so during a normal back-to-school experience, right, what would you most likely be excited about? What would get you like, yay, back to school?
Getting my hair straightened.
So you like getting your hair done?
Yeah, every single year my mom takes me to go.
Awesome.
I think that I'm usually just worked up about like seeing everyone, my new classmates, my old classmates, just in the same room. And like from like usually 3 months of summer break, going to the pool and stuff, I'm usually just happy to be back and learning again.
Oh, okay, cool.
And mostly doing math because that's my favorite subject.
That's your favorite subject? Math is cool.
Don't think I'm weird for this, but I like the smell of like new stuff. Like I get excited when we buy new clothes or shoes or like school supplies because like it smells like I don't know how to describe it. It just smells good.
It smells like a new beginning.
A new beginning.
That should be a scent. Febreze, pick it up. New beginning.
New
air
beginning.
freshener.
Back to school.
You could get it every back to school. Spray it in your bathroom.
Seriously, like I would buy that for you guys and spray it around the house so that you could feel good. The school
it
year.
would smell good all year.
We took a moment to ask our friends in New York, Levi and Judah, these same questions. Here's what they had to say. You'll hear their mom, Lindsay, in the background.
Hi, I'm Levi, and I am 9 years old.
For how long?
For 1 month.
1 more month.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Judah, and I'm 11 years old.
For how much longer?
10 days, something.
Hey, guys, first of all, like, y'all are so super dope. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I really, really appreciate you guys. What's your biggest concern about starting school with COVID-19?
I'm really concerned about probably getting COVID-19 or spreading it to anyone else. I'm probably most concerned about just being like the person who spreads it to other people.
You guys are super thoughtful. So I just want to throw that out there. That I appreciate you guys for that. That's amazing. Not amazing that that's your concern. You're welcome. Not amazing that that's your concern, but I think you guys are amazing people for that being your concern. Okay, so first let me ask, like, are y'all virtual? Are you guys face-to-face? Are you guys, y'all don't know? Are you half and half?
You know what school's going to be like this fall?
Maybe just like probably just work from home like how we've been doing it for like the maybe first 3 months.
Do you know, Judah?
How it will be for us?
Yeah.
I think that there will be some days where some people go to school and some people don't, and that way there's not so many people in like a class. So then more people like who don't have the risk of like spreading it or getting it.
Do you think that they're going to give you a choice about if you want to go or not?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because
what choice would you make if they gave you the choice?
I would probably not, because I think I'm fine with how it's now, and I don't want to like risk getting it.
So you're fine. You're fine. You're fine doing what we're doing now.
Yes. But no, I'm not fine with going to school because I feel like this. Because I wouldn't want to do it until there's like a vaccine or something to stop it.
Yeah. Why? What do you think about, like, what do you think about going back to school? Like, if you went before there was a vaccine, how would you feel when you were in school?
I wouldn't always feel like safe. I would be like sort of scared when I came back like home.
What would you be scared of?
Of me actually like getting it and spreading it to other people.
Yeah. What would happen if you spread it to other people? What would you be afraid of?
Of just afraid of anything that could happen from it.
Yeah. Like what? What do you know about could happen from it?
I don't know that much. I know it's deadly.
Yeah.
But I don't know that much about it, no.
I appreciate all of that. So in considering all of that both of you guys said, right, my next question to you would be like, if and I guess you are in virtual spaces, you guys are going to be in a virtual learning environment, like you're missing out on a few things, right? So like, what are some back to school traditions or things you guys do or look forward to, right, that you're going to miss this year?
What do we do to get ready for school? We have school supplies. The morning of school, we take the picture, and and Dad usually works from home, and we see you guys on the porch.
And since I'm going to 5th grade, there's something I saw in the yearbook. Every single year, the 5th graders always hold up like a sign, first day 5th grade, last day of SIS.
You know, are there any bummers? You know, so like it's not going to be normal. You know, are there any bummers? And if there are any bummers, right? I know my kids are feeling some. You know, what are some ways that you're dealing with the bummers? Like, oh man, that sucks.
Just I'm not gonna be able to see my friends. Well, I might be able to, but like just not like in person, not face to face.
Like, what are some things that you think that you can do to feel okay about it?
Fortnite, like talking to them, but I could talk to them through Fortnite and Minecraft and Roblox and all those other games, even though those are the only 3 games that I actually like my favorite games. A bummer, I think, is probably when I go to school, if what I think we're going to do in school is going to happen, it is that like half the days we are there and half the days we are not there. What would be a bummer would be that maybe I wouldn't be in the days that my friends are going to be at school.
How else could you connect with them? Like, what are other ways you talk to them?
I talk to them on, like, calling them. I can talk to them on, like, on a video game. I can I can FaceTime them. I can do any of that. But I don't have a phone.
Levi and Judah, you guys are really awesome. And I just want to thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
We hope that you enjoyed part 1 of this 2-part episode. We challenge families to have an open discussion about COVID-19 and your back-to-school plans. Are you able to give your kids a bit of agency in deciding what to do? How will your district's choice impact education and your family wellness? If you have anything that you'd like to share, please connect with us on social media at Let's K12 Better on all social media platforms. Or you can connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at Mom of All Capes. Check out part 2 of this discussion, available right away. We'll see you in part 2.
Welcome back to part 2 of this back to school episode discussing COVID-19 with kids on the Let's K12 Better podcast. We appreciate the insight that Judah and Levi shared with us in part 1. Now let's jump right back into our family discussion.
In part 1 of this 2-part episode, we discussed what concerns us most, our back-to-school traditions, and also what excites us about the back-to-school season. We hope that you enjoy the second half of this discussion. Started, we're gonna get this party started. What are your hopes for the upcoming school year, right? Our district has decided that we are going to be virtual through the first semester, right? So what do you hope for this school year?
I hope that I get the gist of 6th grade because I just got to 6th grade and I finished 5th grade in COVID-19. So I kind of am like got the gist of 5th grade, but 6th grade's going to be confusing.
Okay, cool. What do you hope?
I hope that that for the first semester, I hope that like we still get to know who the teacher is and like our classmates, new, old, and also like I didn't get the full 3rd grade experience because we were supposed to go to the zoo. So I hope that this year we actually get the whole experience.
The whole experience.
Even though it's probably going to be virtual, still some fun things.
I see that. Okay. How about you? What do you
I
hope?
hope that we get to go back into the building at least once.
Before the end of the school year?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we know that our school is going to be virtual, right? Period. Like for the whole first semester. So do you think that school will be effective while it's virtual? You know, why or why not?
I think maybe it might be effective, but it's probably not going to be like the whole experience for the first semester. But I think that maybe it'll at least still will learn some things. Maybe on the first semester, the teacher's probably just going to review from the last grade, but I still hope that we learn things that are new.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be effective because we have our parents at home, and I feel like our parents are going to just help you more than just leave you, like, at school. Like, I mean, they're not going to just leave you. Like, the teacher doesn't come like, say you're working and the teacher, you raise your hand, but there's, like, 6 other people raising their hand. Like, it's going to be faster for you to learn with your parents than with your teacher.
What about people whose parents are super busy with work? Or who aren't not micromanaging, but aren't multitasking to ensure that they're working and helping their kids with school. Like, I'll say as your mom, like, it was hard for me to, like, still do my job, hopefully well. We'll see what my boss says. And and also like help you guys, you know, in the midst of like making sure that my professional life was professional and up to the level that it's supposed to be at. So like, you know, what do you think?
Scratch that.
This is not a
No, I mean,
it's the movement.
I mean,
we're on the hunt.
Like, also at the same time though, like I know there's like there's not going to be as much students asking the teacher. Like, for example, like at school, that's the only grown up there, but at home I know there's going to be at least like 2 parents. Come on. Or
some people don't have 2 parents.
We don't have 2
parents. No, I mean like 2 children who have parents who are going to help them.
Okay, so what do you think about like the learning that you're going to receive, right? Is it going to be effective?
No.
Why not?
Because I feel like the last month or 2, the whole last, when we went into coronavirus, I feel like the first time that we were like learning stuff, it was hard for the teachers to connect with the students because we weren't at school to say, oh yeah, at home we have this. No, it's kind of like if you don't have something, how are you going to connect? How are you going to connect if you don't have it? So like.
Right. So connecting with students the way that we currently teach is a challenge for virtual. Yes. Okay.
Also,
just want to make sure. Wait, hold on. She's next, and then you're after her because we want to be fair.
For me, I also don't think it's going to be very effective because it's not just a matter of you can connect with students. It's also if the student is trying to connect with you. Well, my teacher, like, she was, like, helping us, like, learn, like, get the gist of COVID-19 virtual learning. But, like, the kids, like, some of the kids in my class were, like, trying to, like, do something else.
Right. So being at home can pose a distraction on a virtual platform. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Can I want to add on to what Garvey said. She said, like, some kids don't have the resources. Like, I was doing this video that my teacher sent us on the website that we use, and, like, I didn't have all the materials that they needed, but, like, I kind of just, like, used what I had. For example, like, the lady in the video said you needed clay to separate the pieces for the fractions, where I didn't have clay, so I just used Legos.
So it's virtual learning is going to pose some interesting challenges where people have to be creative about.
Because usually the teacher gives you the resources.
Yeah, true. Right. If you could stay home virtually all year, would you? Why or why not?
I wouldn't. Because one, you would really, really miss your teacher, even though you'll see her, but you won't really see her. You just see her on the screen. And also, your friends the same, but also, it would take up a lot of electricity, because think about it, a whole year is 365 days, and a school year is, we start on...
It's like 180 days.
Yeah, 180 days.
Maybe more, maybe less.
Because you'd have to be on that for on the electricity for 180 days. And, I mean, like, that would be a lot. And, like, you'd be on your screens for 180 days. I mean, we're mostly on our screens every day, but, like, even though you'd be learning, still, I mean, the average person shouldn't be on there, like...
Just straight on your screen all the time.
Straight. Because, like, sometimes our parents restrict us, like, when we're using it too much. They tell us just, like, chill out or, like, play a game. Because, like, that's...
Or do something creative.
Or with your family. Yeah.
I think it would save a lot of money on a lot of stuff. Like clothes and shoes. Because if we're not going anywhere, then why would we need to buy it? So, I mean, it would save a lot of money for families with clothes and shoes. And I'd also think that school supplies, you'd still have to buy a few things, but not as much things as like before. So like maybe like pencils and paper and stuff like that, but like not like random stuff you would need.
Not like just like a bunch of clothes. You could just wear it on clothes.
I don't want to go
Speak
back
into the mic.
I don't want to go back to school for 2 reasons. One, because my grade has to be at the top floor and I have to go down for things like lunch and stuff. And 2, because what like they said, it'll cut expenses, but also I kind of do want to go back to school, even though it's COVID-19. Like, that's the part I want to stay inside. But like, I feel like this is kind of piggybacking off of the answer from my last question. Kids are going to get distracted if they have like a lot of stuff at home and they're like constantly around it. So like, yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Recently we got nervous because you were a little sick, even though we didn't go anywhere since March. Like, we didn't go anywhere. You haven't been doing sports. You haven't seen any friends. We don't have like a COVID-19 pod with other people. Like, you've been in the house or you visited your grandmother. And so we went because, you know, we went to go get you tested for COVID because we wanted to make sure that we were being safe and that, you know, make sure I didn't bring anything from the grocery store. So, you know, what was that like for you to go through not knowing to then knowing that you were negative for COVID-19?
When I didn't know that if I had it or not, I was scared because I was like, if I do have coronavirus, then everyone around me, especially my grandma, she could have gotten it because she's a older person, and like those are the people who like most likely die from coronavirus, and I got really scared. And I was also scared because I didn't want to quarantine myself in my room. And yeah.
And so then what did you feel when you got the test results back?
Relieved.
Yeah. Okay, so what about learning from home kind of sucks a little bit?
You can't really, like, it's less engaging because, like, you can't really see what the teacher's, like, it's harder for the teacher to kind of drive the point forward. Because like you're at home, you're like just sitting looking at a screen, or like what if your teacher doesn't even have their screen on, or like there's some technical difficulties, which has happened before for me, and it's like harder to learn with because one, the technical difficulties, they could be glitching or it could cut off. Both of those things have happened to me, and it was like really hard to learn. We didn't even like be able to like listen to the lesson sometimes. And so like when we went to do the assignments, like we didn't know what to do, or it would be like it just completely shut off or died.
Sometimes what bothered me was not meaning to be mean to my sisters, but sometimes like my sister would come in the back or my mom would come in the back and just like be there. Not saying that your existence is bad, just saying like
it's a challenge.
Yeah, it's kind of a challenge when you have someone else in there. Like, I'm not saying that, not trying to be mean to them or rude, but like, yeah, and they would come at the kitchen table and eat, and sometimes like I just look at them. So like I was trying to focus on class.
We were virtual this last quarter in the spring. So what is something that you've learned from the spring that will help you this fall?
How to deal with like technical difficulties and overlapping meetings, because there were technical difficulties over the virtual semester, and also like I'd have to get up really early so I could prepare for my meeting so that I wasn't like in the way of Sophia while she was.
So time management and IT.
I learned how to be patient with other classmates and my teacher, because sometimes the other classmates would like act up, so like the whole class had to stop, because like it's not where like we're doing an assignment in class where you have to just write it down and like the teacher teaches it to you and you have to like do the assignment. We all have to do it together. So I had to be really patient with other kids and my teacher. Also,
So it sounds like you learned patience and empathy.
yes.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to say that I think you guys have a ton of really important things, and I just want to thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Welcome.
Thanks. We have an interesting road ahead of us with virtual learning, and hopefully we can try to be successful.
Yep.
Hopefully. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks for talking to us.
No, always. Good to be back.
Yep.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
Back.
Thank you for joining our family discussion. We hope that you enjoyed part 2 of this 2-part episode. We challenge families to have an open discussion about COVID-19 and your back-to-school plans. If you have anything you'd like to share, please connect with us on social media at Let's K12 Better on all social media platforms. Or connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at Mom of All Capes. We wish you all the best during the back-to-school season.
Each episode, we will share quotes that we find inspirational, and sometimes we will share what we think they mean.
Rosa Parks was an American activist in the civil rights movement. Her quote, "You must never be fearful about what you are doing when it's right."
Florence Nightingale was an English social reformer, statistician, and the founder of modern medicine. Her quote, "I attribute my success to this. I never gave or took any excuse."
My quote is by James Baldwin, an American novelist, playwright, essayist, poet, and activist.
Say it again. Louder.
My quote is by James Baldwin, who was an American novelist, playwright, essayist, poet, and activist. My quote is, "Those who say it can't be done are usually interrupted by others doing it."
Eleanor Roosevelt was the longest-serving First Lady of the United States. She was an American political figure, diplomat, and activist. Her quote, "Justice cannot be for one side alone. It must be for both."
Thank you for listening to the Let's K12 Better podcast.
Please like, subscribe, and share.
We want to hear from you. Connect with us on social media at Mom of All Capes everywhere, and follow the Let's K12 Better podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Share your thoughts about this episode using the hashtag Let's K12 Better. That's hashtag LETSK12BETTER. You can now find us on your favorite podcasting app.
See you next time.